Welcome home, everybody, to episode 61 of the My DVC Points podcast. Today, I have some really cool guests joining us. We've got, let's see, Aaron, Jodi, and Mike joining us. How are you guys doing tonight?
Wonderful.
Great. Excellent.
Oh, awesome. So when's everybody going home? Everybody who's listening tonight, what's your countdown timers at? And I think I am at about 28 days. No, maybe 32 days. It'll be the 10th of January is when I'm going home. And I'm staying at Riviera. So I am really geeked to get your trip report tonight here, Mike. So 28 days.
Excellent.
And yeah. Mike, when's your next trip?
I'll be home in 61 days. We'll be staying at Bay Lake Tower for our anniversary.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. And Aaron, what about you?
So it's 23 days for me. I actually have a studio booked at the Poly for New Year's Eve.
Yep. And I know here I am hanging out with three people that live in Orlando. Okay. Or reasonably they're close. So like, what's up with that? And you at least saved yourself there, Aaron, with your I'm staying at the Poly part. So because I was about ready to say, brother, I'm like, you guys can just pop over anytime you want. But Tabitha writes she's going home. Maybe. I don't know. I'm not showing comments right now.
February 20th?
February 20th.
Yeah. I don't know why the comment's not showing up. So when I go to click it, neither one of them are doing it. Okay. Maybe I have no comments tonight.
Yeah.
We shall see. We shall definitely see. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And I'm going to go ahead and throw up. Oh, there it comes. It's just a little bit late. See if Scott shows up any faster. Yep. Scott's got 34 days, January 11th, Copper Creek and Poly split stay.
Nice.
And yeah, Tabitha says she's going home for the Princess Marathon weekend.
Oh,
awesome.
nice.
And she's going to Jumbo.
My favorite.
So, yeah, no kidding.
All right.
So let me go ahead and kick off the show with a little bit of music here and throw up our agenda.
Parents and the children could have fun together.
Please board quickly and safely. Our monorail will be departing momentarily.
Welcome to the My DVC Points podcast. Join the conversation as DVC share their stories, personal preferences, and magical memories. Your reservation is confirmed. Your fast passes are booked. Pull up on the yellow strap because our journey into the magic of membership is about to begin. Now, here's your host and curator of magical stories, Chad Pennycuff.
Well, welcome back, Jodi. And I'd like to welcome Jodi to the show. Today, we're covering 3 topics. Okay. And we just did the what's everybody's countdowns. We got 3 more left. And we're doing our monthly update this month from DVC Resale Market to discuss ROFR, average sales prices, and inventory analysis. Just what's going on there. Then we'll talk about Rise of the Resistance. And we've got some people that have already ridden it with us tonight. And then we'll go into a trip report with Mike, and he was able to stay at the Riviera Resort on opening night of the cast member previews. So literally like the very first person to stay in the resort. That was pretty awesome. But Jodi, what's going on with the ROFR report tonight over at DVC Resale Market?
Well, it's a lot like similar to last month in that buybacks were a little bit slower. The year to date was, I think, closer to 20% buyback. And the last month or 2 or 3, I think, was about right around under 10%. So we saw a little bit of a slowdown, but, it's typical for this time of year. It is a slower time of the year as well. So nothing too different from last month, your report last month.
Yeah, it looked, I just briefly looked at it because I think Nick just got that thing out today, but it looked like there was no Saratogas this last month.
Yeah, that's what I thought was a little odd. No Saratoga, no Beach Club, no Grand Floridian or Hilton Head, I think was the other one. So um, Saratoga was a little bit surprising because that's been our number one buyback. So that was a little different, but you know,
Yeah.
they got to
And then I
change it
saw
up a little.
some like Grand Cal was getting still bought back.
Yeah, we had another one. I think it was 183. I'd have to double check. 183 or 186 per point was the buyback, the highest
Yeah.
buyback. So that was.
And then I
pretty-
saw one at like 165 for Grand Cal, and I'm like, seller, what are you doing? Okay.
I know. Well, you know, sometimes somebody just wants to sell, and maybe I should look at the details of that. It could have been a more stripped out contract or something like that, but yeah,
Or it could have been a huge point one or something along
Yes,
those lines
yes.
where the point value would have driven it down.
of
Okay.
course. Yeah. So
So
yeah,
things are
it's
pretty quiet now in
little
Rofer.
quiet. Yeah, in the Rofer department, which is good.
Yeah, it's really
For the
good
buyer.
because it helps people come through and get their contracts when they're buying them. So that's
Yeah.
always something really good to come back in and see.
Yes,
Okay.
a lot of anxious people that are now feeling a little more at ease that they know that their contract's going through.
So have we seen any movement in average sales prices? I know direct prices did their bump, and it'll take a little bit before it hits the resale market. But has
Right.
anything kind of moved there from the average pricing, or
Not
Pretty-
that I could really tell. I mean, Nick hasn't put his report out yet, but from, last month's report to kind of what I was seeing with what we were writing up, I hadn't seen a huge change or any
Got it.
change really. So it's kind of more of the same. And to your point, it does take a couple of months usually for that to trickle into the resale area. And so probably right after the first of the year when things pick up tremendously,
yeah,
that with the price increase, we'll probably see some with Disney's price increase coming into effect, we'll probably see some changes then. Definitely.
absolutely. So
Yeah.
what's going on with inventory now? Have we started to see like a rise yet from people pre-due statements coming out? Because those due statements should hit our mailbox any day now.
And as soon as they do, that's when they'll be coming in. That is when we see a lot of listings coming in. We still have, quite a bit of inventory. We are still, I think last month we were a little bit low on Vero, and we still are a bit low on Vero. Boulder Ridge, we only have a couple left of Boulder Ridge, and we've sold out of most of the Grand Floridian. So those are ones we're a little bit low on as well. We do have still a good amount of Saratoga left, but we also sold a ton. So we had something like 75 or 77 listed, and there's only 43, I think, available right now. So although there's still a lot there, we've sold a lot in the last couple of weeks as well. So that one's still moving pretty strongly.
Got it. We still have an abundance of poly contracts out there as well.
We
Because
do. We have a few. We have a few polys there, yes. But I'm sure that again, once things pick up after the first of the year, that those should move. But
is there anything?
yes.
Is there anything out there that you think is an exceptional buy right now?
I mean, honestly, Poly and Copper Creek prices are not that high considering they're the newer resorts, Poly being on the monorail, and with there being an abundance of inventory, there potentially could be some deals to be had there. I mean, they're priced, not much higher than a beach club, for example, which, is a great resort, don't get me wrong, but expires in 2042. So I think if you're wanting one of the newer resorts, especially one on the monorail, I mean, Poly's a pretty good value right now.
Yeah, I've been telling everybody for the last couple months, it's a great time to pick up a poly contract
Yeah, I would agree.
because they just keep raising the price of that resort, just raising it, but the resale market hasn't caught up yet.
That's
So
exactly right. It stayed very flat. So I think it's a great deal. And Copper Creek as well. Copper Creek's still a pretty good value, being one of the newer ones too, or the newest one that we have. The prices are much lower than you can get from Disney. So I think, if you're looking for one of the newer contracts, Poly and Copper Creek are great ones, great choices.
yeah, they are. And Christopher asked this question here. Is Disney still buying up Grand Californian contracts?
Yes, they have been buying back. I mean, they bought back the most than they had all year this month. So for whatever reason, Disney has got their eye on Grand Californian right now. So they are buying those back, but you know, they can't buy them all back. That's what I always say. So give it a shot if that's what you want.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, if they take one of them, it means you just negotiated a little too good a deal, and
Right.
find another one, and there's more fish in the sea. Up
That's
your bid a
right.
little bit next time, and come back in and see if we can't get away from that.
That's right. I mean, a lot of, I get it. Some buyers sometimes tend to be discouraged when it's their second or even third, rofer. But, to me, you gotta
Get back on the horse.
yes,
And
because you're saving so much money, and all you're out is a little bit of time and effort. And I get it. It's a little heartbreaking. I don't like making those calls when someone gets their contract rofered, but
I would just be telling them, hey, look, you negotiated too sweet a deal.
that's right.
Okay.
They're good
You
negotiators.
negotiated such a great deal. The mouse said, I'm going to step in and take that one.
Yes.
Okay.
The mouse is thanking you for that. But yeah, but again, the thing I always tell people is, again, Disney can't and won't buy them all back. So give it a shot. You'll get one through for sure.
Absolutely. And then our buddy Andy here reminds us that Alani seems to be
It
a great
is.
buy as well.
It is. He is
So-
exactly right. Yep. He's right. It's got a
And-
long extent, still a lot of time left on that deed, and the prices are really stable there and haven't gone up too much. So my friend Andy there is absolutely correct.
Yeah, and I'm doing a lot of research on Alani to kick off maybe end of January an Alani resort review series. So the Alani-itis is kicking in here, Andy. So you're gonna have to hold me back, buddy.
I think we all should do it. Yeah, I agree. I'm on board to go live there from Alani. I mean, if it's what I have to do, it's what I have to do, right?
I think we just need to get Nick to sponsor a trip there so we can do a live show from Alani, and I won't have to be wearing a sweatshirt to
I
go
agree.
live.
I will discuss that with him off air later for sure.
Yeah. Nick, I'll even go into training so I don't look so bad in in just my normal shirt here, buddy. So we'll pull it off. Okay.
work on
We'll
it.
definitely
Yes.
pull it off. Right.
Yes. Yeah.
We'll definitely pull that off. So let's transition now. And Shannon has a really good transition comment. She goes, Rofer and Rotor. Hope we don't confuse too many. So from right of first refusal to rise of the resistance. So let me welcome back here Mike and Aaron back into the show. So welcome back, guys.
Hey,
I
Joe.
want to kick
Hey,
off
Joe.
this segment. Normally, Shannon and Alicia join us tonight, but they're a little bit unavailable. And Shannon is actually in Disney today, and so she couldn't make the live show. But Shannon's not going to leave us high and dry. So she did a little bit of a video for us to kick off the Rise of the Resistance with some tips here. So we'll let her kick off this segment, and then we'll be right back to it.
Hi everyone, I'm so sorry I'm not joining you this week on my DVC world. And
Can you guys hear that?
No.
It's very faint.
Okay.
Sorry, but
Let me check something out here. Hold on. I'll pause it. We'll get her back. Right when I thought I had all my technical issues worked out. So I know what I need to do.
hi everyone. I'm so sorry I'm not joining you this week on my DVC.
Does that seem to work now?
But
Yes.
I'm actually
Yeah,
in
yeah.
Walt Disney World. And when you're watching this, we will be at the Christmas party. So I'm sorry, but not really sorry. But I wanted to give you a quick update on riding Rise of the Resistance. And it's awesome. My husband, my son, and I all got to ride it twice. So here's the deal. When you walk into the park, you will be able to join the virtual queue. The virtual queue boarding passes have been all distributed within the first 2 to 3 hours of when the gates open. The gates have been opening early the last couple of days, but I think Sunday they've announced that they're going to start opening at 6. And I think Monday they're going to start going to 8 o'clock in the morning. So plan on being at the gate at 7 a.m. But if you're there at 7, 8 a.m., you should be able to get a boarding pass, but it may be for the evening. So we got our boarding pass, which was group 104. We got it at 7:45 a.m. and it got called at 6:30 p.m. You can leave the park, and we were able to leave the park and go back and take a nap. But everybody in your party has to be in the park when you get the boarding pass. So you can't have one person go in and get the boarding pass. Everybody has to be there. So just plan on going in, getting the boarding pass, and then leaving, and you should be good. And I would say don't plan on park hopping, or if you're going to park hop, park hop during the day, but you can't pick a time. So you have 2 hours from when your boarding pass is called to when it expires. So if it's called at 4:30, you have until 6:30. So just keep that in mind. And that's it. So it's an amazing attraction. It's totally worth it. The best part of the virtual queue is you can leave. It doesn't take a fast pass. You can enjoy the park. One of the things we noticed is that the rest of the park was crazy, but that Galaxy's Edge was really nice. So the cast members are amazing. The ride is incredible, totally worth it. I just realized that when we left smiling, and it's just that incredible. So enjoy it. I think things will settle down the next couple of days, but I think this is going to be the attraction that everybody's going to want to see for a while. Okay, so I will see you guys next week, and happy holidays.
All right. So
Awesome.
it took me a little bit to get that worked out, but I keep pushing the envelope every week on the technology. And for those of you who are in the My DVC Points community group, I did a post with the link so that you guys can click the link and join the show. And so after Shannon's video, if you guys want to join in from your smartphone or a web browser or something along those lines, you're welcome to click that link, and I'll see you in the green room, and I'll pull you up when I can. So Rise of the Resistance here. Now, Aaron, Mike, have you guys got a chance, or Jodi, have you guys got a chance to take this on yet?
Not yet.
Yeah. No, I have.
Okay. And how did the virtual queue part work for you? And,
So
and
it was-
again,
Yeah.
let me just hit this one. Jeremy asked for no spoilers on Rise of the Resistance, and we're going to commit to that. Okay. It's too early to give away spoilers. I haven't even watched any of the videos on it because I'm going home January 10th and I don't want spoilers either. So I'm right there with you, Jeremy.
Yeah.
So, okay. Sorry about that, Aaron.
No problem. So everything Shannon said is right on the money. There was a post today by Disney that said they will be opening the park early for it seemed like the rest of the year at Hollywood Studios, and then once you got in the park, you could go ahead and make your boarding pass with all your party that's in the park with you. The one difference in their post today was that they were not going to be running Rise of the Resistance until the official park opening. So in other words, during extra magic hours, if there's an extra magic hour from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m., they would not be running Rise of the Resistance during those 2 hours. They would start at 8 o'clock with the first boarding group, and then proceed throughout the day with the boarding group going through until they finished. They've been right around 100 boarding groups, maybe a little bit more, and it sounded like Shannon was towards the tail end. She said 104, but yeah, they've been going right around that, and really it depends on. I know the day that we wrote it, or today, there were 2 breakdowns. There were a couple breakdowns yesterday, and that sets things back. And it could potentially, if you're at the end of the boarding groups, you may be out of luck. You may have to get a fast pass for the next day, which Disney has been very gracious in deploying fast passes for the following day if you were in a boarding group and did not get a chance to ride that day. So
Now, I've been reading some other posts as well that the boarding groups are selling out by like 8 o'clock,
yes.
but well before the park opens to people staying off property.
Right. And again, Shannon was right on the money. It's been around 2 to 3 hours each day. So it's been kind of interesting because Disney has published a time. Let's say they published a time at 9 a.m. that Hollywood Studios would open without extra magic hours. It was just going to open at 9 a.m. Well, they decided, because there's so many people waiting outside at the turnstile, that they open up at 6 o'clock. And so as people are coming in at 6 o'clock, they're going ahead, they're booking their boarding groups. And by the time the park officially opens, they're gone. So people
It's
walking
sold
up
out.
exactly. People are walking up at 9 a.m. thinking, okay, the park's about to open, and you get in and there's no boarding groups left.
Wow, they might as well just come out and say, if you're not staying on property, don't bother with this ride, because you can't even jump in line and wait things out, from what I understand with the virtual queue.
Right. The way they scheduled the park openings and the way they actually open the park were different. It was kind of a communication thing. I think they really should have probably said, hey, we're going to open the park early the first 3 days of this new attraction. And we're going to open it at 6 a.m. instead of publishing it at 9 a.m. and then opening it at 6 a.m. So I know there were people who walked in to Hollywood Studios at 8:30, 9 o'clock and realized that they didn't have a shot at getting a boarding group. And, kudos to the guest relations people, but the guest relations section of right where you walk into Hollywood Studios to your left-hand side, the guest relations area was just, the lines were huge. They were doing the best they could in a difficult situation, but I think they just could have published and communicated it a little bit better.
Yeah, Scott asked a really great question here. Wonder how long they'll keep doing the boarding groups, that he'll be at Hollywood Studios on January 12th. And
yeah,
I think they're here to stay, aren't they?
Yeah, I would anticipate at least through the end of this year, and I think they're just going to gauge it based on the popularity, and if it continues to bring crowds in and more people who want to ride it, I mean through this year for sure, and you can probably bet it's going to go into next year.
Yeah. Now, do you think they built this ride to always use virtual queue groups, or have you been in Galaxy's Edge and looked over and saw the queue and went, there's more people in the queue? Like, how does that work? Is this a permanent thing that queue groups are going to be, or is this just going to be the way we get on Rise of the Resistance?
No,
going forward,
it's eventually going to go back to our normal ways of getting in line. You're going to have standby, and you're going to have fast pass. I did not see a single rider line, so it's going to eventually fold into booking your fast passes 30 or 60 days in advance. If you want to go into standby, you're welcome to do that. It could be a couple hours to wait. Eventually, once it gets to that point where the ride popularity kind of quells down, and things just start getting a little bit more normalized. Right now, it's just everybody who walks into Hollywood Studios, that's the first thing they want to do, is they want to get on Rise of the Resistance. And until that goes away, which it's going to take some time, you're still going to have that phenomena of boarding passes and virtual queue. And really, it's a good way to handle it. I think it's really helped limit 4 to 6 hour wait times, which are completely crazy. So they're doing a really good job of keeping the lines at bay and not making it a chaotic situation. However, you're going to have a downside, and that downside is if you're not at Hollywood Studios before 9 a.m., forget it. You're just not going to get on the ride.
Yeah.
And they're being very, very tight and strict with, if you walk over to guest relations and say, hey, I got here 10 minutes late, I didn't get a boarding group, is there anything you can do for me? They are not going to accommodate that. I heard many people over at guest relations asking about it, trying to get a boarding group, and they were just basically their answer is we don't have access to do it. We can't do it. Sorry, come back tomorrow and make sure you're here
You're
early.
dead there.
Yeah.
So Alicia makes this comment that thinking they want us spending money in the shops instead of standing in line for hours. And Susanna comments, she'd rather be doing that too. Okay.
Yeah.
Spending money in the shops. And I can't disagree with her on that one.
Yeah.
Those
You
3-4
said that to me
hour
last
long
night.
queues. Yeah. I mean, would you guys, what's the most that you guys would be willing to wait for a line? We'll ask you guys and then we'll ask the audience. I mean, I never stood in line for Flight of Passage. The longest I waited for Flight of Passage was at a Moonlight Magic event, and it was still an hour and 40 minutes, and I wouldn't have done it had I known it was an hour and 40 minutes at Moonlight Magic. Okay? But
I don't know. Being that I can pop over anytime,
Yeah.
I think 45 minutes is stretching it for me.
Yes.
I would agree.
I'll just
I
come back
agree.
another day.
Yeah.
I agree.
So when it's dead, I mean, it's hard. We get spoiled living here and having this access. So we're probably not the best ones to ask. I don't know.
I'll tell you this. I had a boarding group this morning, and it took, by the time I got into the line for Rise of the Resistance, it took me an hour to get through the queue. So even with a boarding group, there is a wait. So and what they're doing is they're doing about 10 to 20 boarding groups within that range. So if you look at your My Disney Experience app, you'll see they're handling boarding groups 10 through 25. And so all the people that have boarding group 25 are racing to the line, to the queue. And somebody who hasn't been on it yet, who has boarding group number 12, may walk up and say, hey, I'm in 12, and then they're getting behind the people who have 25. So you have more than just one boarding group in the queue. So I just want to stress that even though you have a boarding group, you still could have, an hour to a 90-minute wait. You could have less, just depending on timing.
I think I would make an exception for this.
Yes.
Yeah,
Agreed.
I mean, for this one, okay.
Oh,
I mean, this is Star Wars. This is the e-ticket. This is the ride we've been waiting for. Okay, Millennium Falcon, meh. It was okay. I mean, it was just okay, right?
We waited to go on Millennium Falcon just because. Sorry, Rise of the Resistance is the knees bees, and I'll wait for that one. But
yeah. Scott makes this comment here that he'll ride it in 2021 when everybody's fighting over Tron. And yep.
There you go.
So hopefully Mickey and Minnie's will open up sometime soon. It's been surprisingly quiet with just a couple of peeps here. But hopefully that takes down some of the traffics there. Chris says he'll wait 45 minutes. Scott says no more than an hour. And Jeremy writes the longest he's ever done to date was an hour 40. He would do 2 hours if he knew he had to, but he only comes once a year. So, yeah, if you're only coming down once a year, I can see waiting some time. I mean, I would go up to bladder capacity if that would be my driving force. Okay.
Yep, definitely.
So there was a lot of activity around the entrance to the attraction this weekend, as you could imagine. The one thing I did notice, they were handling security very tight. I've never seen anything like this, but literally, when it was my boarding group this morning, I walked up to the entrance of the queue, and there were a line of cast members there, all in uniform, and there must have been 6 of them right across standing. And I went up to one and I said, I'm boarding group X, and they said, okay, so go over here. And then I was greeted by another row of cast members who scanned my magic band and said, okay, you're clear to go. And then I walked past them, and then there were another row of cast members saying, okay, you go over here or you go over there. So it literally, it's like the Pentagon. I mean, you're going through like layers of security to get to the queue. I mean, I'd never seen anything like that. They did have security guards there, just in case there were any problems, but I had never seen that type of protection on an attraction before.
That's crazy.
Right.
Wow.
That is crazy. So let me pick up a couple more comments here as well. Alicia says at Pandora, she waited 3.5 hours, but loved the experience.
Oof, that's dedication right there.
That was normal.
Serious.
we would be seeing 3.5 or more, or 4 or 5 hours today. I mean, look at what they did for Hagrid's down there. Okay.
Yeah.
And I think this is every bit as good, or we'll get your opinion there, Aaron. But to me, it would be on par with Hagrid's. Okay. And then Brandy writes that she'd probably wait 2 hours if it was my only option to see Rise of the Resistance. But then half hour seems to be about her deal. So Lori writes she waited at Flight of Passage for an hour, and that's it.
It's not bad.
And Chris comes back in and says, I love the idea of a virtual line. I know it can be complex for some, and maybe they could have communicated it better. But yeah, I'm dead on with you there, Chris. I think this is the way to go for this big crowd management capacity stuff. Let me come back in. It's almost like we're stealing a play out of the Disneyland Max Pass playbook, where you got to come into the park and then get your virtual ticket or your fast pass kind of a deal. I really like that, and I hope I see more of that coming to Orlando. I really, 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 truly do.
No, I did like the system, Chad. I think they again, the system works. There's fairness to it. Again, it's just I think it was just the park opening time. I think that was the issue with a lot of people. Is again, you know, if you say it's going to open at 9 and you've got a gate buster attraction waiting there. And I understand. I mean, the crowds outside the gate of Hollywood Studios were huge, and I get that. And Disney's always accommodating to getting people in and trying to get the day going.
I get that, but I think they're going to run into the same thing, because if they say we're going to open at 6 to let you in for extra magic hours, if I'm coming down in January and that's the case, I'm going to have my butt there at 5 o'clock. Okay, if I have to take an Uber to get over there from the Riviera Resort. Okay, I'm still going to be there early before park opens because I don't want to have to wait. Okay, I really don't. I mean, I know I'm coming back in May, and I'll probably pop down between now and then as well, but I really don't want to have to wait. Okay, I really don't. Speaking of that fairness, Lori comments, seriously, I like the rules. I like it to be fair. And I'm with you on that one.
Yeah.
And Chris brings up a really good question here as well. Has anybody heard what they're doing with the VIP tours? Did the VIP tours get to just pop into line?
So I actually had a VIP tour right behind me today as I was in line. So they do have to wait in the line with everybody else. They don't get the back door. However, they can go into the line whenever they wanted to.
Oh, okay.
Got it.
Yep.
Got it. Okay. So they could wait till, right before they call some people and pop in. Okay.
Yep.
Maybe they can get the inside scoop and time it. Okay.
Right.
Now I know if you pay that $12,000 a day kind of VIP tour, that they should be backdooring you in. Okay.
Yes. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Jeremy just asked the same question. Is there any park tours or the plaid vest system? That's what we just talked about, Jeremy.
Yeah.
And the comment could have beat him from our voice delay there, but it sounds like the plaid tours can still get into any boarding group or get into the boarding group line when they want to, but they're still subject to wait that hour plus like everybody else.
Right. Yeah. And that's who was behind us was a plaid vest and in a group of about 5 people.
Got it. Okay. So now let's transition here to non-spoiler. Okay. Geek out with us a little bit here, Aaron. And what'd you think of the ride? And no spoilers. Okay.
No, absolutely not. I will tell you that the first word that came to mind as I was in the attraction and walking out of the attraction was intimidation. So what does that mean? Right. So it's I will tell you that this is the first attraction I've ever been in where I was like intimidated. And
really,
I'm not talking about fear factor of the ride. I'm talking about the acting, the whole experience was just intimidating. And
do I need to fire up Stitch's lightsaber back here? And I mean, he'll help me.
You'll understand.
right?
think exactly
So,
right. You'll understand what I'm saying when you go through the ride, but it really describes the experience, at least for me. There was just an intimidation factor to the ride. It's nothing like you've ever been on before. The technology behind it not that it hasn't been used before. I think the way that it's been combined and presented is different. There are a few pieces that are new that I've never seen before,
okay.
but most of it is ride technology that's been out there. Again, it's just the way that it's presented and packaged that really is different.
Well, I
And
think
that's
in
what
some of their
makes it great.
teasers, they said we're going to go through multiple different kinds of ride experiences throughout
Mhm,
the deal. So it sounds like they're really just kind of combining everything. And maybe
exactly.
maybe it sounds like, and this is what I'm just trying to recap what I heard you say. Sounds like this could be like an orchestra symphony where
hmm
they've had a bunch of really great musicians playing, and now they brought them all together and made a symphony out of it.
hmm Yes, and I think that's a really good way to put it. If you think of it that way, yeah. And as you come out of the attraction and you really try to think about what just happened and you take it all in, you may have some different thoughts about it. There was one part that I was disappointed with, but beyond that, everything was really great. It's the extra sensory piece of it. It's 360. Everything's happening around you. There's nothing. There's not an area where you can look where you're not immersed in it. You're not going to look like behind you and see just like a black wall. It completely surrounds you.
Is there like a FOMO factor here because there's so much you don't know where to focus on?
Yes, and I think that's really going to help with rewritability. You're going to look in different places and pick up on different things. In fact, the cars themselves kind of go into different places. So depending on what car you're in, you'll experience some different things. My guess is, and I only rode it once, but my guess is, and I could kind of tell that there were things that I didn't see that maybe the other car did see as we were going through.
Oh,
And
really?
yeah, so there's going to be rewritability to this where maybe the next time you do it or the third time you do it, you're going to see some things like, boy, I never saw that. I didn't see that before. So yeah, you'll definitely have that going.
Okay. Wow. 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 That's really, really cool
Mhm.
to know because I mean, Flight of Passage, I'm now to the point where I get my fast pass for it and I try to do it at least once a trip, but it's not going to break my heart if I don't.
Right.
It sounds like Rise, it's going to be a while before I get to that point.
Yeah, I would say, as many Star Wars fans are out there, I think they'll all understand this, that as you're going through the attraction, you're thinking to yourself, these are a lot of the scenes, these are a lot of things that I wished I could have experienced when I was watching the movies. Look how cool that looks. Wouldn't it be cool to be in that set and be a part of it? That's really what this is all about. You are in it. I mean, you're right in the middle of it.
Okay, so this one question, and this will just be a yes or no question, okay? Because this is my take on Galaxy's Edge, okay? I think it's cool. I think the Millennium Falcon, I about lost it when I walked around the corner and saw that, and I love people just losing their stuff. When they walk around that corner and see it, that is just really, really, really cool to watch people take that in for the first time. Because the Millennium Falcon is the Star Wars of our childhood. Okay. That is hashtag my Star Wars, right? A lot of the stuff that's in Galaxy's Edge today, I'm a fan of the movies and I haven't gotten into all the cartoons, but I'm starting to with Disney Plus now. So I see a lot of it as hashtag not my Star Wars. Okay. Do you think Rise of the Resistance falls into the classic lines or the newer stuff or?
So it's the newer trilogy.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay. Awesome. So it really tied into the movies well then, or?
Yes, no, I absolutely did. You'll recognize everything. You'll understand, the actors and the actresses. You'll know who they are. You'll understand, their role in the movies and how that translates into this attraction.
Awesome. Okay. Well, let's see. Does anybody else out there have any questions for us on Rise of the Resistance before we finish this up and we move over to our other smoking hot topic of the week here? And we'll give everybody a couple chances to look at that. Jodi, what's your anticipation like for Rise of the Resistance? Are you a huge Star Wars fan?
I was praying you weren't going to ask me that because I don't even want to. This is embarrassing. I'm just going to go out there and tell you though.
No.
That's a lie. I have never seen one Star Wars movie. Never, not one, none. And with that being said, my son and husband are like addicts. Like sounds like you guys are a little bit.
Oh,
and
my wife is flying home tonight. Okay. And when she found out that Rise was opening, when she's there, because she's never watched a movie either, she considered moving her trip date. Okay.
Really?
She was like really I know it's like grounds for divorce. Okay. I'm going, but okay. I have to come back in and let me find this old comment here, right? This is why it can't happen, okay? Because my buddy Jim says Chad's wife Laura is in Disney too, and she's awesome. She spread some pixie dust and picked up some holiday spirit wear, like the spirit jerseys. From Jim did a post in the My DVC Points community, and Laura hooked him up. She is that level of awesome sweetheart. She'd take time away from her vacation just to do something kind for somebody else. So yeah, I can't get rid of her. I mean, even if I wanted to, my wife is awesome. Jim nailed it, but
oh, that is nice.
Awesome.
But I can appreciate a good ride. So I mean, I'm definitely down to ride it. I just can't say that I know a lot of. I won't know the characters or anything like that, other than what I overhear from the hubby and my son. But like I said, I was really hoping I wasn't going to have to go there because I'm probably just upset like half the population listening because I've never seen a Star Wars movie, but that's okay.
You know what? We respect everybody here and we respect all opinions. Okay.
Thank you. I'm more like the Tangled kind of a gal. So, but that's okay.
That's okay. Right.
Yes.
So Mike, what's your thoughts here? Are you geeking out? I mean,
I am, actually growing up, I've seen all the Star Wars films and I was never a huge fan, but I appreciated the franchise. But now that Disney has it and it's all Disney-fied and I love Disney, I'm starting to become all about it. And when Aaron was given his description, I was getting chills. So I'm really looking forward to riding this thing. And in the comments, I see Alicia said something about the Mandalorian. And I am all about the Mandalorian right now. So
yeah,
baby Yoda for the win. Okay.
I know about that. I know about Baby Yoda. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So Alicia asks a good question. She asked about the how the Rise of the Resistance attraction will be affected by the new Star Wars hotel that's in construction right now. And I would say that from what I can see with the Star Wars hotel, I have seen the construction going by it on Osceola Parkway. It is not a very big hotel. They're going to have very few rooms, and it's not what I would say a traditional hotel that's a high rise. It looks like it's going to be a couple floors. From what I can tell, it doesn't look like it's going to be more than maybe 100 to 200 rooms. So I don't think from a capacity standpoint, it's going to have much of an effect. However, it's possible that they could allow those guests staying in the hotel to maybe take over the attraction for 60 minutes out of a day, possibly.
Awesome. Yeah, I can't wait for the hotel to open. I don't know that I'm going to be able to afford the hotel. Okay.
No kidding. Yeah.
I'm going to have to seriously call up DVC rental store and rent some points out or something.
Yeah.
And see if I can't swing that one and make that happen. Okay. But Jeremy asked this question, and it's a fair question. Is there a seat outside for big people? Will they fit, or wheelchair people? Is it going to be like Flight of Passage? Because I know some of our poo-sized audience members here, and I used to be a poo-sized person, and that isn't an actual Disney term, okay? that a lot of us call ourselves poo sized. Okay.
Yeah.
How does that, was that a factor?
Right. So there is no test vehicle outside of the attraction. But I will say that height-wise, you should have no concerns. And I would say even poo-sized people should have no concern. There was a lot of room in the seats across our aisle. If I remember correctly, it's 8 to a car, and there was a lot of room. Had no problem with legs, had no problem with size, and it looked to be very, very accommodating.
Is it a bench or individual seats?
It's individual seats in a bench format, so they're all connected, but they're I would consider them to be seats, but they're all one piece basically.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, so there's some elbow room there. There's some definitely elbow room there.
Absolutely.
So let's transition now over to Mike and the Riviera. Okay. This week, Mike, go ahead and tell us about your experience there, Mike.
Yeah. So I have a cast member friend who she's going to be working over at Topolino's, and cast members of the Riviera got to experience staying at the Riviera, and they were able to invite some guests. They're doing a 10-day preview of the resort, and we got invited on day one of this. So it was an honor for that, and she decided to invite us because we are DVC members, and she said she knew of all my friends, you were the ones who would appreciate this the most. And boy, was she right. So it was an excellent experience. The resort, it's absolutely beautiful. Coming up, I mean, I'll just tell you, driving up was magic overload. It was free valet for us, and the minute you get to the guard gate and you tell them who you are, I mean, you drive up to valet, and it's, oh, hi, Mr. Doherty, here, let's take your car. And then you walk up through the double doors, and they knew who we were already. And I'm sure this was just a day one thing, trying to impress VPs, but there was a lot of magic there. And upon entering, I mean, the place, it looks and it smells amazing. I don't know what scent that is they pipe in there, but my wife said it smelled like fresh cut roses.
Yeah.
It was really, really nice. Oh yeah, yeah. And everything's so new. The carpet was plush. It was a great experience. The decor, I mean, it's everything you would expect from the European style. And they've got, I think I showed some of the Walt swag that they have in there. Just to the left, they have a little library where you can go in and hang out. And they've got glass cases with all kinds of things, real artifacts from the days of Walt when he traveled over to Europe, and he brought all these things back. So they're in these display cases.
Now,
we went up.
I've got some of your photos here ready if you want to talk through them.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, we can talk through them.
So let me throw this one up here first. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So this one, we went up to Topolino's. So Topolino's is up on the 10th floor. And if you go to the very back of the restaurant, you can go outside. There's some outside seating, and there's a small bar out there. And when you turn, as you go out those doors and you turn to the right, this is your view. Absolutely breathtaking. And this was around sunset.
Yeah. Now, what parks can you see from up there, Mike?
You could see Epcot. Epcot's very, very close. You can see Hollywood Studios. And then you see the Swan and Dolphin in the background in this picture, and also some of the other resorts. But those are the only two parks you can see from the top.
Okay. So then you showed us this picture as well.
Yep. So when you go outside the back, so if you walk all the way through the lobby, so the lobby is actually on the 2nd floor, and towards the back of the lobby, you can take some stairs down, and to the right-hand side, you'll see this tunnel here, this breezeway. And this is to the Skyliner, as you can see from the sign there. And at night, it's really hard to see here, but as you back off at night, the tunnel kind of glows blue. So it's very ominous. It's very calling. It's a very calm and peaceful kind of color. But as you walk through here, you see there's an archway mosaic here, and there's one a little bit further down. And you walk straight now, and you see that walkway up there too. So if you're on that floor there, I think that's floor 2. You can just kind of walk, chill out, go through the breezeway, and then head onto the Skyliner if you want to.
Wow. And I was real impressed with they themed those to flight to go with the Skyliners. Okay.
Yes, they did.
So that was really cool as well. And then you stayed in a studio there. You sent over some pictures of the studios. Let me throw these 3 up and have you talk to us about them.
Sure. So not totally great pictures, but it looks like a standard studio. And there was actually 4 of us in there, and it slept 4 of us very comfortably. Of course, we only had our overnight bags, so we didn't have a lot of luggage. But in this particular orientation, you walk in, and your closet is immediately to the left-hand side. And then you've got your kitchenette here, and something to note, they do have real dishes and real silverware in here, which I thought was really nice. Our friend told us that it's signature dishware, and that's why they stocked all the rooms with these. But the only downside I did see to that was it takes up a lot of space in those cabinets, but I'm sure you could rearrange it if you want, in case you're bringing some food along with you. And then if you're facing in the studio there, then to the right-hand side is the bathroom. And the bathroom is a split. So you do have a tub. If you're looking straight into it, you have the sink in front of you. And then to the left-hand side, you have a tub and a shower. And to the right-hand side, you have this walk-in shower, which is also in the toilet room.
Yeah. And
very nice.
It looks like it's really nice marbled. And I was really shocked about that dishes comment because Polly got paper last time I was there.
Yes,
and
paper.
I'm like, this is the Polynesian, guys. This is a monorail resort, and you're cheaping it up with paper.
Yeah. Yeah. And I asked that too. I said, is this only because there's VPs here? And she said, no, that the dishware is supposed to be permanent. So we'll see.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And I know, Aaron, you've been inside the resort as well. So what is your all's take on this resort? Having actually been there, walked through it, lived it, breathed it, kind of a...
I think it's just beautiful. The word I walked out of there with was comfortable. It's very relaxing, and I said this in a Facebook post, but to me, you could spend 5 to 7 days there, and it's a destination resort. The theme parks are kind of secondary. I know that's hard to believe, right? But you could stay there and just relax, be comfortable for 5 to 7 days, and just take it all in, and not even have to worry about getting over to Epcot or Hollywood Studios or Magic Kingdom or any of the parks. But everything you need is there. It's just very, very relaxing. I really loved the pool area. The one thing I did notice, and I don't know how this is going to affect it, and again, I only was there once, so take it with a grain of salt, but it seemed to me like the feature pool and the quiet pool weren't too far apart. And I don't know how that would affect your quietness at the quiet pool, but that was just one thing that I noticed. But again, this resort, it's beautiful. It's relaxing. It's comfortable. If you're a DVC member and you're planning to stay there, you might find yourself wanting to stay there more and not have to worry about getting up at 7 a.m. to get over to Hollywood Studios. You might just say, you know what, we're going to stay here tomorrow. We're going to go out to the pool. They have on the first floor near the pool, they have a great quick service. They have a great bar and lounge area near the pool. Kind of reminded me of the bar and the lounge area over at the Caribbean Beach, where it's kind of open but it's covered.
Okay.
Different, a different theme, but it's kind of laid out that way where it's open but it's covered, which is really nice as the breeze comes through, and you don't have to worry about the weather and the rain, and if that were to happen. But just great. Again, very comfortable. There's if I remember right, there were some bocce courts there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now,
Excellent.
Jodi, when you were a direct guide, what resorts opened up?
I'm sorry. Bay Lake Tower had just opened. Grand Californian had just opened. So those were the new resorts we were selling when I first came on. And then we opened Alani and Grand Floridian. So those were the main ones. Yeah. I'm trying to think
Okay.
if I'm missing any, but yeah. And then I left, and then that's when Polly opened shortly after I was there.
Okay.
The last new resort was Grand Floridian.
Well, I'm asking this because I'm kind of curious as to what's going to happen with Riviera sales. I've heard from a few people that they've been a little on the slow side. And
Yeah.
will this give us the big boost and lift now that it's open and people can come back in and see, and we've been able to get some social media videos out there? Is that going to spawn their sales for them? Or do you still think there's something holding back, like the restrictions?
Well, I mean, definitely, I think seeing it and all of these rave reviews will definitely help sell the Riviera. And if people want to stay there, you know, they'll still buy into it, whether it be resale or direct. And again, I think all of the reviews and people seeing it and experiencing it will definitely generate some sales. With that being said, are there still going to be maybe some reservations with people joining because of the restrictions? You know, probably so. I mean, there are some now. You're hearing it, I'm hearing it on my end. Will it continue now that it's open and people are, you know, really liking it? Will it kind of not matter as much? Who's to say? But I think there's probably still going to be a little bit in the back of some folk, you know, the really savvy strategic resale buyers and DVC buyers will still probably wait until and either get it resale or just wait and you know, use if they've been grandfathered in, they'll use those points. Or I've also talked to folks who are planning on renting points, people who own at Riviera and use rentals to, you know, to stay there so that they can still stay there but not have to commit to buying in there, which I think is a smart option, honestly. So who knows? It'll be exciting to see what happens. Definitely think it'll give it a push.
Yeah, I'm hopefully it does. Now, you guys have seen a couple of Riviera contracts pop up, haven't you?
We had one, yes. It was a small one, so it did sell for, and I think it was pretty loaded too. It did sell for a higher dollar amount than what we honestly expected them to. And it sold very quickly. So, I mean, I think it was on the market 10, 15 minutes or maybe a half hour. I'm not sure. It was a very short amount of time. And it sold right away. But again, it was small and it was loaded. And it's the first Riviera, you know, I don't know if it was the first ever on resale, but it was one of the first. And it was certainly our first. And that's the only one we've had so far.
Yeah, it seemed like it went for around 130-ish, 132,
Yes.
something along those lines.
Yeah.
You know, which was, you know, a 50-point drop. Like, you know, that was an expensive mistake.
Yeah, but it could have been worse, you know. At least it wasn't someone with a 300-point contract. That might have been a little more tough to unload.
Got it.
But yeah, I was very pleasantly surprised to see how quickly it sold. You know, we had multiple offers come in and it sold very, very quickly at that price. So that's a positive, you know. I mean, maybe not so much for the person, unfortunately, having to lose a little bit selling it, but it shows that there is some strength there with resale with Riviera, but it's hard to tell just from one.
Got it. Okay. Susanna makes this comment to Mike that she loved the videos that he did this week where we went live and did a quick little video out there. And that video has gotten quite a bit of attraction. We've had about 50, 60 people join the My DVC Points community group just from that deal. And somebody in that video asked for a Christmas tree at Riviera.
Right.
And Mike went back and did a little bit of handiwork. And let me roll that footage here, Mike. So
on one of the videos yesterday, I did hear a comment about there not being a Christmas tree. And so last night, there was a little bit of magic that happened here at the resort. And we have a Christmas tree and we've got some garland up. So looks like we're getting festive here for Christmas.
So awesome. I mean, how much more responsive can you get than that? Than, you know, somebody asking for a video and the guy goes back the next day and shoots it after the tree is up. So
magic.
Yeah, and I'll tell you that, like I told you, Chad, when we woke up the next morning, my wife had gotten a call from work. We had to drive all the way back home just to find out they didn't need her. So we said, well, what do we do? And I mean, we only live about an hour away. So I was like, we're going to go back because I got to get some more videos, and I just want to be around that place.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, especially while you've got that limited access there.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, I'm not going to throw that away.
Mm-mm.
I mean, if I can stay on property without using my points, I'm taking it.
Exactly.
Point well made, Mike. Point
No
well
doubt.
made.
No
Point well
doubt.
made. So, a couple of other comments. Jeremy says, "Wow, beautiful," and Alicia was like, "Paper. Copper Creek had dishes for us all." And then Jeremy backs him up that they had dishes in the Copper Creek studios. And yeah, no kidding. Because I feel a little
I
like
got paper.
you got paper at Copper Creek.
Yeah. When I stayed in the studio, yeah.
Wow, maybe they listened to us all complaining or something because
maybe. Well, that's good.
yeah. And Marianne here comments that live was fantastic, that she was absolutely blown away. And yeah, that was a really cool live. I'm so glad we ended up pulling that one off and doing that. And thank you there, Mike. So does anybody else out there have any questions for our cast and crew today? Rofer, Rise of the Resistance, Rofer, Rise of the Resistance. I'm getting my R's mixed up. Okay.
That's gonna be tough.
Or Riviera. It's a 3R show. Okay. But if anybody's got any questions, go ahead and put them in. If anybody in the My DVC Points community group wants to pop in and join us and ask a question, now would be a great time. If not, we're probably going to end up wrapping up today's show because we are about at our hour mark. And so I just want to give everybody a couple more chance to see if anybody has any more questions or if there's any things that I missed in here. And scrolling back through the questions and comments, we've got a lot of people watching tonight and a lot of great feedback and comments. So I think we're really starting to pick up some steam in our show, but not really seeing anything. So I think Alicia has it right here when she says, "Night, y'all. Great show." And let me just come back in and before we wrap this up. So Jeremy says, if you own Riviera, can you imagine wanting to use those points to stay anywhere else? Not right now. Okay. I think I'd want to be using my home resort till the new wore off. And as soon as that happened, man, get me some Animal Kingdom action, get me some boardwalk, some beach club. You just can't go wrong with those classics either. So
yeah, I mean, even with the Skyliner, I mean, having that Skyliner access is huge. I mean, being able to pop over to Hollywood Studios or Epcot within 10 minutes is really, really fantastic.
And I think you just answered Lori's question there. Is the travel easy with the Skyliner at Riviera? I can tell you from staying at Pop, it was amazingly easy, even to get to Epcot, which is the longest path you can take. So
Marianne's got an interesting question that I think you guys need to answer about the ride. She wants to know if she's going to get sick.
Yeah.
I don't think I would want to know that too, because I have a soft belly myself.
Yeah. Marianne, was that about the ride or the Skyliner, or are you just going to get sick over not staying at Riviera? So,
she asked earlier, to quote her, "What is the barfometer?" So,
okay.
The Resistance, yeah.
So
okay.
If it's for Rise, I will say this: there is one moment in the ride that could affect a soft stomach, but probably not. And again, it's hard to gauge at people's stomachs, but probably not. The rest of the ride is completely worry free as far as that goes. There's just one tiny spot, and it may not even affect anybody, where you may have a minor issue, but other than that, perfect.
It's not like Star Tours where the barfometer is through the roof the whole time.
No, not at all.
Okay, right?
Those space sickness bags.
Yeah, or Tower of Terror where you taste your lunch again.
That one doesn't bother me, but yeah, the other ones not so much. Yeah,
got it. Okay, well, let's wrap this up. And Aaron, I didn't get a chance to introduce you as well. You do amazing things, and people should really go back and listen to our interview. And I think we were in the 30s or 40s from that episode. The episode numbers are blurring by me. I'm editing 61 as like earlier today. But you lead the Disney Indie Meet and do a lot of fundraising for Give Kids the World. So,
yes, yeah, I appreciate that. We do a lot of work with Give Kids the World. They're based out of here, out of Kissimmee, Florida, just nearby Orlando, and it's a place where wish children come when they wish to go to Disney World. That is the number one wish of critically ill children. Give Kids the World works with a lot of wish organizations, most popular being the Make-A-Wish Foundation. We started a charity about 6 years ago called Magical Wishes for Kids. We raise money and funnel it directly to Give Kids the World. That's really what our mission is. And one of the major events we do every year, you just mentioned it, is the Indie Disney Meet. We hold it each August, and we raise a lot of money for Give Kids the World while also having just a great time with entertainment, silent auction, expo, and just many things. It's basically a huge unofficial Disney convention.
Awesome. And you are in episode 36. So if people want to go back and listen to that, it would be mydvcpoints.com/036 would be a great way to do that. And I think you joined us on the live on episode 35 as well.
Right. Yeah.
So awesome. So where can people follow up with you, Aaron?
Right. So our website is mwfk.org. It stands for Magical Wishes for Kids. Or on Facebook, our Facebook page is Indie Disney Meet. Also on Twitter, Indie Disney Meet as well.
Okay, let me throw that up there real quick. MW. I think I got that one wrong.
mwfk.org.
MW. I always mess that up in when I was pronouncing it on your episode too. So it was an editing nightmare. So I guess I just got more editing to do on this show, right?
You got it.
Let me see if I can come back in. And now they're tying up on me here. So, okay. Mike, where can people follow up with you if they want more questions or more information, or just to send you a high five from your awesome videos there?
Yeah, you can reach out to me on the My DVC Points community on Facebook. I'm fairly active in there. So if you see me, just say hi, or if you have a question, just let me know.
Awesome. And thank you for being an awesome member. And I got to get your cast members' friends' name so I can write them a thank you note as well, or somehow express my appreciation, because that was really cool and it really helped out a lot of people. So, and Jodi, where can people follow up with you at?
Can give us a call at DVC Resale Market, or email is great. Jodi at DVC Resale Market. There you go on the screen there. That's great too.
And so, yep, that one I did. And I want to thank, DVC Resale Market and Vacation Club Loans. You guys are both sponsors of our platform and really help us pay the bills for this wonderful streaming software and pull things together for the community and publish a lot of great content for people. So thank you guys very much there. And if you're looking for a resale contract, Jodi will be glad to help you out, and I can't recommend them high enough.
Thank you.
Yep. And my name is Chad, and I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight, and y'all have a great night. We will talk to you soon. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Bye.